I'm not like a Jedi. Maybe I'm just the princess with the rolls on her head.
Princess Leia, she was a Jedi.
Then why was she wearing the gold bikini?
She was enslaved.
So, not a super great Jedi.
So what's up, people, and welcome to the part 4 discussion of Undone. And this part is titled Moving the Keys, which is a pretty well fitting title for this episode. It is an episode where Alma continues to learn about her capabilities. But what was a pleasant surprise for this episode was, this episode was seriously hilarious. And one thing I realized out of this episode is, Rosa Salazar would make a really good main character in a sitcom. Her kind of presentation of the irony and the satire that she has in her voice is really well made for a sitcom. If there was ever a sitcom where she became the main character, I would be very interested in watching that. The other thing that I noticed was, the writers for this series is pretty good. They are able to bring out the drama that's necessary to create the tensions between the various characters. So they're very good at writing dramatic sort of scenes. But at the same time, they bring out some very creative ideas in terms of both the things that Alma experiences as well as the way she learns her capabilities. So they're very good at doing that sort of analytical sort of discussions as well. But what's funny is, from this episode, the writers are also very good at bringing out satire. And it's not one of those ha-ha-ha slapstick comedy in your face sort of satire. This is a lot more kind of subtle and darker satire. And so, I thought that the interactions between Alma and her dad was hilarious in this episode. And there were other parts where I found it to be very interesting, including, the fiance to Alma's sister Becca. And some of his discussions that he had with Alma were pretty funny as well. So, the voice actors are very good, as well as the writers in creating these situations where they can flip from very tense moments to very funny moments. And so, very good job, writers. As far as the plot is concerned, there is very little movement in the plot. In fact, the entire episode just deals with Alma trying to learn how to move the keys with her mind. And you would think that that would be, how can you do 30 minutes of that and be interesting in terms of an episode? But the nice thing about it is, of course, all of her capabilities are tied to things that she experiences both in the past as well as the present. And so by using the movement of the keys, or the trying to move the keys as the central focus of this entire episode, they could actually use it to create flashbacks into the past, where there were key moments in her life that helps her understand how to use her new capabilities, as well as frustrating moments between Alma and many people around her, whether it's her mom, whether it's her boyfriend, and of course, between her and her dad. Because, of course, while the dad is trying to teach Alma how to do this sort of capability, she is, of course, retaliating back by talking about a lot of the tensions that they had in the past. And so the central point of trying to move the key opens up many different circumstances and information that you learn from this episode. So although there was very little plot movement in that, basically all Alma does is try to move the keys in this episode, you learn a lot about the story, including some of the things that may be tied to the reasons why Alma's father was killed. And of course, one thing we learn and one person we get introduced to is the gentleman who is associated with that company that helped sponsor the father. And it does look like there is some involvement between the death of the father and that company, because first of all, the father comes out right in the story and tells Alma, yes, it is the person from the company who resulted or who created the situation that resulted in his death. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's his opinion, and I'm not sure how he created that situation yet. But there does seem to be that connection between his father's death and the company. However, it doesn't stop with that. Then there is still that relationship that her father had with that student or assistant or whoever that is. And from the discussions that she has with the father, which results from trying to move the key, she starts learning that there was some strong relationship between the father and that assistant. Whether it went to be a true affair or not is not known, and it somehow indicates that it's probably not the case, but there did seem to be a very strong, relationship between those two people, that they did care for each other quite strongly. And this, of course, may have resulted in tension between Alma's father and Alma's mother. We still don't know really if that was the case, but it did seem that Alma's mother knew that there was some sort of relationship going on between the father and that assistant, and that did create some stress to her. And of course, Alma's mother, we're starting to learn, is a lady who bears a lot of the stress, who amplifies that stress to make it a tremendous burden on her. And of course, that then gets communicated and felt by every other member of the family, including Alma. Finally, one of the things I really liked about this particular episode is the way they're treating Alma's capabilities. This isn't like a lot of the shonen style of stories where, they're just doing something, they work harder, and then all of a sudden they get that capability, right? I mean, even Star Wars was like that, and you notice that analogy that Alma mentions about Princess Leia, in this episode. But this episode shows it to be a much more kind of smarter way of bringing about her capabilities. She doesn't just get it out of trying repeatedly like you see in a lot of these stories. What she has to figure out is how she is supposed to move those keys. This isn't a capability about telekinesis, that's another power that she has. This is trying to figure out how to creatively use her ability to move in space and time to move those keys. So instead of really pushing the keys, she has to find an instance where those keys get moved, such as somebody picking up those keys and then combining that instance with that key coming back to that location, such as the boyfriend bringing that key back to that location again. And so by doing so, by moving and coordinating the various instances that she had in time, she could make the keys disappear from that location and then come back again. And that was a very interesting thing because of the fact that this isn't just about, oh, I got a power. This is explaining how her capabilities can be brought about, and then her trying to figure out how to control that space and time so that it does effectively move that key forward. And this not only explains her capabilities better rather than just say, oh, it's a force, right? Or it's a Super Saiyan mode, or it's a Kamehameha. It's really explaining what she can do with her capabilities. It explains what she has to do to practice her capabilities, and it gives a foreshadowing to how those capabilities will be moving on in the future, how she will be able to move the space and time to be able to do the things that she needs to do, and how her psychology and the things that she experiences and the fears that she has may become an obstacle to utilizing that capability in an effective manner. So this is not only a foreshadowing of the future, this is the explanation of the present as well as an introduction to her past. And so although there is not a significant amount of plot that happens, because really all that happens is Alma moving the keys, there is a tremendous amount of story that gets revealed. And because of that, I do find this series to be really well written. It's very smart in the way it brings about its story. And I'm hoping that it continues to do so because of the fact that that gives the story not only interesting intrigue in finding out what this mystery is, but a freshness in the way it tells the story. It's not just another mystery drama and a supernatural drama, but it explains things and it puts things in a very unique way that gives you a new experience watching this series. And so first of all, I would like to commend the writers for doing such a good job in bringing such a unique experience. I hope that they continue to improve upon this, and I have some strong confidence that they do. But I also would like to commend the various voice actors who have brought about this experience by creating an immersion situation where you can experience this in a very comfortable manner. Their personalities are things that you can feel moves the plot forward without feeling artificial. And finally, I do have to commend the artist who created the animation because it does fit well with this entire situation. It can be kind of toned down to help represent the tense parts, but it moves well so that when it is funny, it is pretty funny watching the scenes. And so, yeah, I enjoyed part 4 very much. It was very different to part 3, 2, and 1. And this uniqueness in how each one of these episodes is coming out is very enjoyable. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this moves forward. So for me, that's episode 4 of Undone. And I would like to hear your comments with regards to what you felt about this episode. And as always, I thank you in advance for not bringing out any spoilers. And I look forward to viewing episode 5 in the near future. I hope you join me at that time. Anyway, that's it for part 4 of Undone. And until the next episode, happy anime watching. And as always, Jaya, nice day, everyone.